This is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV.com as I take a sip out of my The Hannibal TV mug and enjoy some of my THC pen now that I'm back here in Canada where that's legal before I do my weight workout down in my basement. Spent another $1,000 on weights here yesterday because the gyms are closed in Ontario until looking like the end of July, early August, which sucks. But I just finished watching The Ultimate Warrior A&E documentary, which is on Daily Motion. Many of you asked me to do a review of it. I don't have cable, haven't had cable since 2012. Somebody sent me the Daily Motion link. And I have to say that there were parts of it that were cool. Some of the behind the scenes interview clips that they showed, which I guess it was done in association with WWE. But overall, again, people are taking shots at him throughout the whole documentary, which I considered low. They did talk to his high school football coach, who I guess he weightlifted with for 3 years during his youth. So it's pretty cool hearing those stories. They totally kayfabed Rick Bassman discovering him. They totally glossed over that. And I'm going to have to ask Rick if he's seen it because I'd like to know his version of that. They made it seem like a guy that ran Gold's Gym was the one that started the whole Power Team USA thing, when obviously it's well documented it was Rick Bassman. So that was kind of unfortunate. They wouldn't give him credit. They did show a picture of Bassman with Sting and the Warrior and the other two guys that no one remembers from Power Team USA. They made it seem like he was a terrible wrestler, even though I'd rather watch any of his matches than any of the matches from anyone in AEW or WWE today, because now what they consider good wrestler is if you slap your leg when you throw kicks and you can do flips and perform fake-looking choreographed matches, that's what makes you a good wrestler. He was a character. Watching this was easy to watch because it was full of his promos. And even in his non-promos, he was such a good speaker and had so much charisma that he's very entertaining to watch. Again, they made it seem like after he beat Hulk Hogan for the title. They did give him credit. When he beat Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6, they did give him credit. He was only in the business for 5 years at that point, and they sold out the Sky Dome in Toronto. I was there that night. But they did throw in the line from Hulk Hogan's line from the Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, that when Warrior won, supposedly everybody was looking at Hogan going away on the cart and nobody was looking at Warrior. I was there. The crowd was going nuts. Were they in shock that the Warrior won because nobody expected the Warrior to win because Hogan had been champion for so long? Yes. But they were going absolutely nuts for the Warrior. So again, they're still trying to change history again. And then when they went into the Warriors title reign, they literally spent almost no time on the title reign, and they made it seem like it was a total flop. I was a kid going to house shows and TV tapings at that time. The arenas where I'm from in Ottawa, at the Ottawa Civic Center, from that period in the early 90s, before I would say up until about, I remember the last really good crowd that they had at the Ottawa Civic Center was for the June 2nd, 1992 Superstars taping that the Warrior was on. I seem to recall that he wrestled Papa Shango on that card. He was also on some TV matches, and he did a promo with Mean Gene. That was packed, and the Warrior was the star of that show. There was house shows where I can remember him wrestling Randy Savage, where it was absolutely packed. They barely even mentioned the Randy Savage feud, where everyone cried at the end of the WrestleMania 7 match, which was a great match. But yeah, they made it seem like his title reign was a flop, which it wasn't. And then they also made it seem like when he came back in 96, nobody cared. I remember people did care. And once again, let's go back to my own personal going to events. The very first event that was supposed to be at the new arena in Ottawa where the Senators play. It was then called the Palladium. Now it's called, I think, the Canadian Tire Center. Back in August of 96, the main event was supposed to be the Ultimate Warrior against the British Bulldog. It ended up being Sid because they fired the Ultimate Warrior. But the main event was the Ultimate Warrior against the British Bulldog. That was the advertised main event, and there was a very good crowd for that show. Very good crowd. And going back to it, for the people that also like to bash Sid got a huge reaction when he came out as the replacement for the British Bulldog. But to act like the Ultimate Warrior wasn't over in 96, maybe not as over as he was in 90 when he first won the title, but he was definitely over because people were excited to see the Warrior on that show. Then where they're also saying that he had used the excuse that his father died, but he really didn't like his father, and that's why he had missed some shows before they fired him. Did they ever think that maybe he regretted the bad relationship with his father and he was sad about it? And that's why it hit him so hard. How can they get into his head and Vince McMahon say that he had no feelings for his father? So him saying he was sad about his father dying is a load of crap. You never know what people's feelings are. And if you don't make up with people, like it can hurt you. There's definitely some people that have passed away in my life that I regret that I didn't try harder to get closer to before they died. 100%. My own grandfather on my father's side, I didn't have the best relationship with him, and I didn't take his death that hard. But looking back on it now, I wished that I had tried to have a better relationship with him, because he was a prisoner of war, captured by the Germans and was tortured. Went through hell there. So yeah, it did make him a little bit of a strange guy in real life, and I wasn't that close to him, but I wish I had. But anyways, my whole point is, how can Vince McMahon say he had no reason to be sad for his father dying? I thought that was a bunch of bullshit. They didn't even mention his WCW return that made an all-time like huge ratings record for Nitro, which I don't have in front of me. But even though his return speech was like very long and he went over the time, it was a huge ratings hit. So to completely gloss over that is typical. WWE was involved in producing the documentary. Lots of cheap shots taken at the Ultimate Warrior throughout the whole thing. It was nice seeing his kids and wife in it. And I don't know if his wife is still a WWE writer, but for a while there, she was a WWE writer. But as I said, overall, as an Ultimate Warrior fan, it was cool to see, but I don't like the cheap shots. The only one that I don't recall taking any cheap shots was Shane McMahon in this. He only said positive things. Vince McMahon definitely took cheap shots. Hulk Hogan did. All these nerdy, quote-unquote, wrestling expert dorks that they interviewed also took cheap shots. So I'll read some of your comments on it. That's about all I have to say on it. If you're a fan of his, You'll find it cool. Rodzor brings up the Dingo Warrior. They did cover his time in World Class as the Dingo Warrior. And you can see in his promos that they show from those days, he was already an excellent promo in World Class. Matt R says, yo. Alan says, cool that I'm watching and reviewing them. Well, I'm not going to watch them all. As I said, somebody sent me the link to this one, and I'm not really even that interested in watching the other ones, to be perfectly honest with you. But I am an Ultimate Warrior fan. Adam of Gray Skull says, Warrior forever. Same with Trey. Winters Liar says, no WCW stuff. A&E definitely all in with WWE. Yeah. I mean, the whole reason that they brought him back to WCW, which Hogan will deny, but Kevin Sullivan, who was booking at the time, is confirmed, is Hogan wanted his win back from WrestleMania 6. But he did pop a rating. I'm not saying that he did anything great in WCW, but he was still popular in WCW. WCW, as the case with a lot of wrestlers, also didn't use him great. Get Lost Games is such good with promo, and they do show the clip in there with Ric Flair walking off the set when being asked something about the Warriors promos. Again, it is mentioned in here that there is a lot of professional jealousy of the Ultimate Warrior. A lot of people are jealous of them. And I find it funny that WWE always calls their wrestlers family. And like, oh, the Ultimate Warrior came home at the end. And yet Vince is taking cheap shots against him throughout this whole thing. So would you take cheap shots on a dead family member if it was your family member and you were that close to him? I wouldn't. I sure as hell wouldn't. Their whole family bullshit is a load of crap. They are a corporation. They're as corporate as a corporation can get. Wrestling is a cutthroat, backstabbing business, all about who the best suck-ups is. Wendell says they did not mention any narcotic drug abuse. Steroid abuse was his demise. Who knows? Many people have said that the Ultimate Warrior was a big speed user. And I'm not saying he was the only one. Many wrestlers took speed in those days. A lot of them still do. So you never know. But they definitely went into the steroid use. That's hearsay, by the way. But I wouldn't throw it away that he never used speed, to be perfectly honest with you, because he has a lot of signs of someone that would have. Someone says Hogan lying. No way. Hogan is one of the biggest liars, if not the biggest ever in wrestling. Michael Collins says we need more unique characters like the Warrior in wrestling. There are few body types and few personalities left. Great gimmicks like Warrior and Undertaker. I agree. Yes, Naval, I remember when the Ultimate Warrior was oozing black blood from Papa Shango. He did that actually at that TV taping that I mentioned earlier, which, by the way, they did put me on camera at that taping when they said Shawn Michaels had left the building. Get Lost says, I loved when he came back. And he did come back a bunch of times, but there was also a quote in there from one of these pipsqueaks that were the experts on this channel. They all looked like a bunch of trolls, if you ask me. But what are the, I don't even remember who, Sam Roberts, it could have been. I'm not going to say anything about his look, but I wouldn't let him babysit my kid if I had a kid. But yeah, the guy said Warrior was all about returns more than even his reigns. It's like, do you even remember his title reign, idiot? His title reign was over I love how they try and rewrite history. Name me one title reign that's been over. The title doesn't even mean shit anymore. Ben Dallas, one title reign in recent memory that's been over, like the last 20 years, because the title doesn't mean shit. There's no wrestling title, in my opinion, in any of the major companies that means anything. Ben Dallas says the days of unique, larger-than-life characters are over. I think the last one left is the Blood Hunter. Mark says, so basically we can confirm his wife Dana's belief this was going to give a bad telling of Warrior's story was true. I would say so. I mean, they did have his kids and Dana herself on it. So they definitely said the family perspective of it. Oh, the other thing that I forgot to mention is they went into his conservative speeches, which I don't even know how many he did. I don't know if he did more than 2 or 5. I really don't know. There's only really footage of one of them out there. But they had one of these dorks on there that was commentating. One of these Poindexters say that when he did that, it really disappointed all the Warriors out there, all the people that grew up watching him. How many people even knew about that? Let's be honest. How many people were following the Ultimate Warrior on the conservative speech lecture circuit? Honestly, like, give me a break. Nobody was paying attention to that. Only a very small amount of people, and I highly doubt I had even forgotten about it. So Mirror says A&E has done nothing good in forever. Well, that's the first time I'd seen A&E in forever. So I couldn't tell you, but I have no interest in really watching that channel. Stevie said if Warrior didn't get fired those 2 times and had other title runs, arenas would have drawn big crowds. But again, he was his own man and he wasn't a suck-up. And in wrestling, you got to be a suck-up. And they made a big deal that he held them up for $500,000 for that SummerSlam 91. But I'm sure they weren't losing money on SummerSlam 91. I can guarantee you, and wrestlers weren't paid as well in the early 90s as they are now. There weren't as many revenue streams. Now, I'm not saying holding up a company is a professional thing to do, but if he felt it was right, he felt it was right. Michael, if WWE goes PG, they should try to do it like WWE is. I have no hope for WWE. No hope at all. It's not going to get better. Don't hold out. Don't keep watching hoping it's going to get better. It won't. Bobby Lincoln said the Intercontinental, Honky Tonk Man said the Intercontinental title didn't mean anything after Stone Cold threw it in the river. I couldn't even tell you who the Intercontinental Champion is right now. Get Lost Games said he stopped watching WWE 4 years ago. He just can't watch it. Jay Will says he's glad he got the $500K from the Ultimate Warrior. That would make Kamala happy after they cheated him. Kamala actually said that the Ultimate Warrior often let the Warrior or let Kamala drive with him in his limo. Kamala actually said that to me in my shoot interview with Kamala. So I would hardly say that the Ultimate Warrior is racist, even though at one point they seem to insinuate that. Chris Norman says a lot of jealousy from guys that never connected like an audience with him. Troy says gymnastics in a ring is not wrestling. I don't care to watch gymnastics ever. The best thing about gymnastics is if there's attractive girls in their outfits doing flips. But I don't like gymnastics wrestling because I don't want to watch male gymnastics. It's boring. And I find it also boring in wrestling. Rodzor says WWF is dead. Naval Sailor loved Kamala's book. Jason met the Ultimate Warrior at Gold's Gym. He was hitting a speed bag, and he complimented on how hard, or this person was hitting a speed bag, and the Warrior gave him a compliment. They also, at one point in this, really made it seem like he was bad to the fans. I've heard lots of fans have great experiences with him. You have to remember, people, in those days, it's not like today where they wrestle once or twice a week. They were on the road 7 days a week a lot of the time for long stretches. And if you're a guy like the Warrior, you had to spend a lot of time in the gym too and do all of your media commitments. You're going to have bad days, and you're going to have days where you've hardly slept and you're exhausted and you're beat up, and you just might not be friendly to a fan. It happens, okay? It really happens. So there you go. Danny stopped watching WWE after they joined Peacock and censored all the Attitude Era stuff. Joey says Warrior was a special character. Phil says WWE is trash now. I agree. Merd says WWE is dead and pure shit. As far as an entertaining product, yeah, it's dead. Danny says Warrior proves to always believe in yourself. Anthony says Old Warrior was awesome. Donnie Brasco says 350 days a year is how long they were on the road a lot of the time. Yeah. And again, you just try without even wrestling or having to work out, just being away from your family for over 300 days a year and being a big guy and having to go on planes and travel to a different city every night. See what kind of a mood that'll put you in. That added all the other stuff and all the jealousy you have to deal with, everyone trying to take your spot, backstab you. And again, people still want to be remembered above Warrior in wrestling history, guys like Hogan and Flair. It's the truth. They're politicians, and I do like Flair. But they're going to continue to take little cheap shots at him as long as he's around. Jeff, what in my opinion is the best wrestling company right now? Well, in Canada, it's Great North Wrestling. And in the United States, it's PCW Ultra. By far. Chris Ghost says, great channel. Backstage politics. What is meant by backstage politics? Well, in wrestling, it doesn't go by talent. It goes by who is the best suck up, who is the best at cutting other people down and taking other people's spots, more than talent. Sometimes, if there's a special talent like the Ultimate Warrior that they will push, yes, he will be pushed based on his look and his ability to get over, but there will be people that want his spot because the champion in those days made more money. So people are constantly trying to cut you down and make you lose your spot so you can take your spot. Winter Liar brings up why they put the kid apology thing in there was just spite. And yeah, so basically what happened, going back to what we were talking about before, I guess the Warrior was rude to a friend of the McMahon families, and they had him do an apology on tape. And they made him look real bad, okay? So for the WWE to call him family, seriously, fuck you. You don't do that to family with someone that's dead. Like, WWE is just a bunch of fucking trash, pure trash, honestly. Fuck you. Ultimate Warrior is better than anyone you have right now, by far.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it.